Hello, everybody. This is Moxie with Squibbler, and today I'm going to be talking to you about productivity tips for writers. These are some tips for maintaining focus and managing time. So, if you're one of those people that struggles to find enough time and struggles to find focus for your writing, this is a good webinar for you. So, we're going to learn how to maintain focus while working. You'll learn how to optimize your writing time. And I'll also mention how you can use Squibbler's features to help you reach your writing goals and some of these tips as well. Uh, Everyone can write, but not everyone can finish. Alan Moore, the author of V for Vendetta and The Watchmen, is very encouraging in his masterclass. He insists that everyone can write. And that's true. Everyone can, but not everyone will finish a project. And that's the big challenge. So in this webinar, I'll take you through some practical tips to help you stay productive. Tip one, you want to set clear goals. Define what you want to achieve in each writing session you engage in. At least think about it in your mind. Whether it's a word count, a completed section, or editing a chapter, having a specific target in mind helps you stay focused. Stephen King aims for 6 pages a day, and he has a huge body of work, so he does manage to stay motivated and stay focused. Ray Bradbury says that he wrote 1,000 words a day from the age he was 12. James Patterson, who wrote Along Came a Spider, advises writing every day for at least an hour. So even if it's a really difficult day, try to sneak at least an hour in. You can also use the goal function on Squibbler to make file goals or daily word count goals. Tip 2 is to create a writing schedule. You want to dedicate specific times each day or week for writing. Consistency helps develop a writing habit and ensures regular progress. David Sedaris, the famous comedic memoir writer who wrote Me Talk Pretty One Day, has a schedule of writing from 10 to 1. Then he picks up trash for a couple hours, and then he writes again at night. He says he writes every day, and he avoids using the internet during those hours, which is great advice. Tip 3 is to prioritize your tasks. You want to identify your most important writing tasks and tackle those first. I've often read from motivating self-help books that if you get the worst thing out of the way, everything else seems easier. So maybe if you're struggling with a difficult passage, you should write that first. You can also use tools like the Eisenhower Matrix to prioritize based on urgency and importance. You can also set priorities in the project manager in Squibbler by flagging folders and files yellow for high priority. So that's a good way to take notice of things that you want to accomplish first. Tip 4 is to eliminate distractions. This is difficult for a lot of us. You want to try to find a quiet place to write and eliminate potential distractions. It's a good idea to turn off notifications on your phone. You want to close unnecessary tabs in your browser and let other people know that you're in a do not disturb mode. My own father was a writer, and his rule was when his office door was closed, we weren't supposed to disturb unless there was an emergency, and we were pretty good about not disturbing him. Jonathan Franzen, who wrote The Corrections in Purity, says he keeps his desk mostly empty. It's sparse, and he also does not use the internet while writing. Tip 5, it may help you to use a timer. You can implement something like the Pomodoro technique, which I've spoken before in a previous webinar. What you do is write for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. Then you write for another 25 minutes, take a longer break. So after 4 cycles, that'll be an hour, and you could take a longer break. This can help you maintain focus and prevents burnout to have these little mini breaks in between. Salman Rushdie is really strict about this. He advises sit down and don't get up until you've written something. So I think that's an interesting perspective from someone who's also had a large body of work. Alan Moore says that writing is like sharks. I love this metaphor. He says they have to keep moving. Your writing has to keep moving, or like a shark, it will die. And then also just a reminder that this tomatotimer.com has a free Pomodoro timer on it. I really like it a lot. I recommend it if you're looking for a way to time yourself to make yourself stay in place. Tip 6 is to set deadlines for yourself. Even if they're self-imposed, deadlines create a sense of urgency, and they can help you stay on track. David Baldacci, who wrote Absolute Power, says that if you're truly a writer, you will find the time to write. And I know that a lot of famous writers, John Grisham being among them, would wake up really early because they had full-time jobs to at least get a chapter finished. Self-imposed deadlines are the best deadlines. You might want to use the List project manager to set deadlines for your project in Squibbler, because there is a function where you can add due dates on a calendar. You might also want to break projects into smaller tasks. Large projects can seem very overwhelming. So when you begin a book or you begin a screenplay or a memoir, it's a huge project that seems like it's impossible to finish when you begin. But break these down into smaller, manageable tasks, and you'll make steady progress. You want to break up your work into files and folders in Scribbler, and then you can set up goals with the goal feature at the bottom of each section on your document and watch your progress as you're going along. Tip 8 is to track your progress. Keep a journal if you're into that sort of thing, or use a tracking tool to log your writing sessions and progress. The list function is also a good tool for this. Watching yourself make achievements, finishing a chapter, finishing a section, finishing an act, finishing a scene, those are all achievements and they're worth celebrating. So that could be really motivating if you track how much progress you're making. Another tip is to outline before you write. You might want to start with an outline to organize your thoughts and ideas, and this will save you time and keep your writing focused. Baldacci says he often writes mini outlines for chapters. You can also keep your outline in the summary feature in Scribbler and build it from the Smart Writer. I've done both. I've written books that I have not outlined, and I sort of let them go organically, and it was really fun. But the work that I'm writing now is very much outlined. And I'll be talking about some of the structure I used in next week's webinar on the 5-act and 3-act structure. So I like both, depending on what I'm writing. Tip 10, use writing prompts. If you're stuck, you can use prompts to jumpstart your creativity and get the words flowing. And sometimes really beautiful writing could come from something unexpected, like a writing prompt. A lot of writing classes use this approach to help writers get into the groove of writing. So you can find a lot of free writing prompts online, or you can check out the challenges section on Scribbler's Discord channel for inspiration if you're looking for something to write about. Tip 11, and this one is very important, and I agree with this one. The experts say to edit last. You want to separate writing and editing phases. It's really important. Focus on getting your ideas down first and then edit and polish later. The writing you do initially is sheer magic. The editing is not as fun. Joyce Carol Oates, a famous American writer who wrote Blonde and Hatchet, says emphatically, do not edit while writing. She says to treat your drafts like a wildfire and just let them burn and grow. Amy Tan, who wrote the Joy Luck Club, also advises that you don't do too much research because you'll lose writing time. It's very difficult if you're interested in something that you get lost in research, and you should be writing instead of researching or editing. So save your editing for when you have a full draft. Tip 12 is take care of your physical health. You want to stay hydrated, drink a lot of water, eat well, and get regular exercise. A healthy body supports a healthy mind. Umberto Eco, who wrote The Name of the Rose, said he used to exercise when he got stuck writing, and he preferred swimming. So pick an activity that you like and move your body as well as your brain. I like to go for walks. It's always very helpful for me to get away from my desk for a while and just, relax with a walk and take in nature around me and think about what I want to do next if I'm struggling to stay focused. Tip 13, this is difficult for a lot of us as well. You have to learn how to say no. You want to protect your writing time by politely declining requests that don't align with your priorities. Our modern lives are really busy and complex. We have a lot of different things that are competing for our time. It's okay to say no to things that interfere with your writing time. Sometimes we need to hear that it's okay to say no, and you should guard it. It is something that is very valuable to you, and you don't have to say yes to every request that someone makes of you. Tip 14, this is also very helpful. You want to set up a dedicated writing spot. I am currently at my desk that I've had since I was a child, which is it's comforting for me because I began writing on this desk, and now I'm continuing that as well. And I have this picture of Neil Gaiman here. He has a writing cottage in his woods in New York, upstate New York. And so he goes out there, and you can see he's very focused as he's here. So create a comfortable and inspiring space where you can focus just on your writing. As you're walking to that space, your head will begin to get into the headspace of writing. And you begin a habit just by being present in that space. And most of the professionals do have a dedicated writing space. I found this interesting. This is Mark Twain, and his in-laws apparently were wealthy, and his sister-in-law built a writing studio for him so that when he and his wife would go to visit them, he could work in this writing studio. So this is what he says about it. It's the loveliest study you ever saw. It is octagonal with a peaked roof, each face filled with a spacious window, and it sits perched in complete isolation on the top of an elevation that commands leagues of valley and city and retreating ranges of distant blue hills. It is a cozy nest, and just room in it for a sofa, table, and 3 or 4 chairs. And when the storms sweep down the remote valley and the lightning flashes behind the hills beyond, and the rain beats upon the roof over my head, imagine the luxury of it. So sounds like a lovely description of his writing studio that he used on his family's property. Now, of course, not all of us have wealthy and generous in-laws, so you can maybe get used to going to a local cafe that you feel comfortable in, or a quiet place in nature can also be a good writing spot. James Baldwin frequently wrote at the Café de Flore in Paris, so that a local cafe may be helpful for you as well, especially if you have like earbuds in or something and people aren't distracting you. If they are, it may be a good opportunity to listen to how a dialogue works. Tip 15 is to read, and read more. You want to read for inspiration and story ideas. They will inspire you. A lot of famous crime writers get ideas just from reading the daily news. Reading poetry can help develop syntax and style, and the more challenging the poetry, the better. Alan Moore says, reading is the gateway drug for writing, and I absolutely agree with that. Reading will make you want to write. Another tip is to join a writer's group. This is a way to stay productive and focused because you're interacting with other writers. You can hop onto Scribbler's Discord server to chat with other writers. We do have forums now for fiction, nonfiction, and screenplay writing if you want to talk to other writers about issues you're having, or maybe they have tips for you. Or you might join a local writing community through your local library or a site like meetup.com. If you can't find a group, start one. There's always going to be somebody who wants to join with you. And this is really helpful because you'll see what other people are doing, and it's very motivating. If other people are writing, you want to write as well. Another tip is to join a timed writing contest. This is another way to stay focused, and one of the biggest ones is National Novel Writing Month, and it's nanowrimo.org. Every November, writers set a goal to complete 40,000 words or more in the month of November. And you get daily encouragement from NaNoWriMo to complete your writing fees. Signing up is free, so you'll get these daily reminders, encouragement, that sort of thing to help you finish your writing goals. Tip 17 is to reward yourself. Celebrate your achievements, big and small. Rewards can be a big motivator and help maintain a positive attitude toward writing. You can do something as simple as adding the stars to your work for chapters you've written well or files you've written well in your Scribbler project manager. Also, Scribbler would love to see your accomplishments. We have an accomplishments section on Scribbler's Discord server, and we'd love to see what you are completing, and we'd love to celebrate with you. And finally, a word from famous sci-fi and fantasy writer Nnendi Okorafor, who wrote Akita Witch and Lagoon. She says, don't stop until you get to the end. Then you'll know you're finished. So you definitely can do this. So in this webinar, we have reviewed some ways to maintain focus while working, how to optimize your writing time, and some of the features in Scribbler that can help you reach your writing goals. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm certainly going to explore some of these tips myself, and we will hopefully see you next week for our next webinar.